Welcome back to the She Cultivates podcast. My name is Elizabeth Savion, and thank you for joining me on another episode. Here we talk about cultivating our best selves and community, and it all starts from the inside out. And so if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to this podcast, leave a review. I would love to hear from you guys. And this month we are starting something new, which is you can have some input into the episode and be featured on the episode. How that looks like is that on the show notes, you will see a link where you can leave us a voicemail, you can ask us a question, and that will be featured in an episode. So it can be based on the topic that we're talking about or a past topic, or if you have a question about something, or you just have some insight on something that we shared about, because that is something that I want to do this season coming back. It's having you guys be more involved in our episodes. And so in our community, we have our social media, a podcast, as well as we are creating different things for you guys to cultivate your best self. And what that looks like looks different for everyone. But on today's episode, we are going to dive into what it takes to have the courage to build the life that you love. But before that, if you are an Orlando girly or you are in the Central Florida area, we have amazing events happening in person with our She Cultivates community. So if you want to check that out, we have a friendship social, a connection social happening this month, March and April. So you do not want to miss it. And one of our brands gave us something super fun. And so I actually did it with my fiance this week. It was connection cards. And so they're like think deeper cards where it's like, okay, like what are you feeling right now? Or what are you overcoming right now? Or what is something that you haven't been honest with yourself about that's stopping you? Like, it's just another level. And I love those kind of games because I'm like, let's get deep, let's chat, let's sit and sit with our feelings. And he's very on board with that. Sometimes he's like, okay, mentally I have to get prepared. And other times like it just flows. And so that is something that we are also having a code for our community. So in the show notes, you will see to be able to grab yours, because that is a way that you can cultivate deeper friendships and relationships and connections with other people. And so I love different games when it comes to that, because that is a way that it just takes you out of the, how are you? How are you doing? How was your day? It's like, let's actually get deep and get to like the core of things. So in today's episode, we are sharing about the courage that it takes to become your best self and build the life you love, because we all have an idea, right, of the life that we want to create. And maybe you were someone that when you were really young, you're like, this is how I want my life to be. Other people, they're just like, life has just happened to me and we're just going with the punches. And wherever you're at in that space, it's like, think about, what does a life that you love look like? And what is stopping you from getting there? What does it look like to step out of your comfort zone and do the hard thing to get there? When I think about the courage that it takes to build your best self, it personally starts with seeing where you're at in life and being honest with yourself and be like, hey, what's working, what's not working? What are areas that I need to improve in? What are relationships that I need to let go? Where are spaces that I've maybe outgrown in my life? And that is hard, because a lot of the times we're very comfortable where we're at and it's working. It's worked for us for however long, we've been in it, and we're like, this is nice. I've been in this job for 5 years and it's good enough. Or I've been in this relationship and it's all right, but it is what it is, or I'm in this friendship dynamic and I just feel very uncomfortable and I feel like we're drifting, but I also don't want to hurt their feelings. And so I'm just not going to say anything. And we stay in these dynamics because it's scary to change, So I feel like the first part is evaluating where you're at and being honest on where you want to be. A lot of the times too, it's like the fear of the unknown, the fear of like what's going to happen. I remember many situations of being in the wrong job or being in a place where I'm like, yeah, I've outgrown this, or even friend groups that have changed. And it's painful because maybe you thought they were going to be there for the rest of your life. And it's just like, no, I'm in a different season now. And it's just evolved and it's changed. Or even a career path that you thought like, this is what I want to do. And then you're like, actually, I've been here and now I'm like miserable. So it's like the courage that it takes to first say that to yourself is the first step. And then looking at what is the need? What do I need to do to get to where I want to be? So is it by setting boundaries, in certain relationship dynamics or at work, or applying for different jobs, or getting out of my comfort zone because I feel like in my friend group, it's, like my friendships are changing, or maybe I don't have a community of people and I desire that. And so it's like, what do I need to do? Do I need to look for community spaces to join? Or can I start something that would bring in people? Or do I need to go to that event that's a little bit uncomfortable, but I should be doing that because that's where I want to be? And so it's stepping out of your comfort zone to get to the life that you want. And in the beginning, it's always going to be hard. It's always going to be that like awkward, like, okay, I've never done this before. So it's scary. And so recognizing that you've outgrown something, and also I feel like starting something new without having all the answers. I shared in last week's episode that, even being in a relationship, right? Being in my first healthy relationship, it's been an adjustment, right? Because I've never done it this way, meaning I've always had kind of a plan on like how I wanted things to be, like A through Z. And my relationship has taught me so much about like just letting things be and taking the risk and taking the chance, because it could turn out really good. But sometimes our inner thoughts and our inner worlds are like, no, it's going to be chaotic. It's too scary. Like, this is good enough. But if you believe that there's just more that you want out of your life and like you're just not at your fullest potential, then that's when you have to have that conversation of like, what are things that are stopping me from getting there? What are things that I'm allowing to keep me here, keep me stuck? If I'm completely honest with you guys, a few months ago, I went through a rut, where I was really feeling like, is this for me? Is this for me? Is this something that I need to give up with my business? And it just wasn't working. I felt like I was working so much harder without the return. And I felt very depleted. I felt a little bit burnt out. And I just felt like, okay, I feel like I need to change something. Like I need to like, what are the skills that I have and what are areas that I'm good at? And like, how can I make something out of it? Like to make it less, I'm not going to say difficult, because difficult, it's an ongoing journey, in your career and business, but it's like, I just knew something needed to change. And I'm like, okay, what are things that I've stopped doing, or what are things that I'm already used to doing that I'm like in kind of like a slump, or I'm kind of in a bad routine or bad habit that it's like, that's who I am now, And I had to really take a look and be like, okay, like I need to go back to the basics, like back to the drawing board, be honest with myself. What are areas that I'm struggling with in my business, and areas that I'm just spending too much time doing that it's like I'm wasting time? Or even with my habits, when I went through going through, I guess, the grief process of last year, I stopped doing a lot of self-care, and I stopped doing a lot of, like going on walks and working out and eating healthy. And then, when you get to that place that you're just so uncomfortable and you're like, yeah, this is not working. Like, I don't like how I feel. I don't feel my best. And that's where I honestly was. And I was like, okay, like, what do I need to do to change that? So I'm like, okay, I'm going to set days in my calendar. I need to work out no matter what. Like, these are the days that I'm going to go to a class or work out at home or go on a walk, because like I need to do that for myself. And what am I going to do also? I'm going to meal prep and start prepping my meals. And so for the last, I feel like 6 months, I've been on this journey of like, cooking at home and learning new recipes, and just in starting to enjoy having like more whole foods and taking care of myself, and like helping for my inflammation in my body, and like going back to that, because I lost that because I got so stuck in like just the ongoing process, of life. And sometimes like you just feel like life just takes you. And so that's when you have to sit with yourself, and like I call it like a board of directors meeting with myself, and be like, this is not working and you need to change something about this. Recently, what have been feeling is to find like a new hobby for myself that I do. Salsa was something that I did, but it's not the same now. And it's not just because I'm in a relationship. I just feel like, even like time wise, like with the schedule, like it's at night, it's late at night. Like I'm like, yeah, it's not working the same. So it's like we can go socially, or, once a month or twice a month, but it's just not the same. So it's finding a hobby for myself that I enjoy, or something that I do for myself that is a good disconnect. And before, it was always, like walking at sunset time, or, like salsa class. And so I'm in that rediscovery phase with myself of like, what do I need in this season? And what will help me, get to where I want to be, because maybe it's like this season you have to evaluate where you're at and be honest with yourself. But I feel like a lot of the time what stops people is because they want, before they step out in that courage, to cultivate the life they love, they want, approval, or they want people to give them like a yes, or like everything to be perfect, or for them to feel confident to step out. And when I tell you how many times I've stepped out before I have felt ready, is insane. Because in December, when I was like mid, low of just a sense of like sadness and grief, and in December, I don't know what came over me, but I was like, this isn't working. I need to figure something else out. So that's actually where I wrote my hosting an intentional event, and like how to host intentional events. Like my guide actually came out of like me doing 2 hardcore intense days of writing everything out and creating it. Like I was like such in a slump, and I was like, okay, I need to do something different. Liz, this isn't working. What do I need to do? Like, I'm just going to do it. So I spent so much time thinking about doing it that I finally did it. And I don't know if anybody can relate to this, where you're just like so done with like your like low moment that you're like, okay, snap out of it. Like you need to get it together. You need to get up. We need to keep it moving. And so literally I spent like 2 days on like until super late at night, just like writing it out, making it. I made the landing page, I created the website, the product, I put it, and I launched it. And I said, this is when I'm going to do it. I'm going to set a hard deadline for myself, and I'm going to show up for myself. And when I tell you guys that I posted it, and I was so scared, because I was like, okay, I feel like not my best. Like this is so random. Like I'm starting something completely new that I've never done. Like, what if people are like crickets, like not interested, or they're like, who are you to share something, and like my inner world was just like, my inner thoughts were not the healthiest, but I'm like, I'm going to do it anyways. And I'm going to show myself like I can do something new, and I have the skills and knowledge for it. And like, why do I keep waiting for like the perfect moment? Like, just do it. And when I tell you guys that I posted that and I was so scared, I had over 30 downloads like within the first week that I launched it. And I was like, wow, I thought nobody was going to care about this. Like, and 30 downloads for someone that has never created something, I was floored. I was so proud. I was like, even if one person downloads this guide, like I'm going to be happy. And that was just a reminder, like you can do the new thing. Like you have to step out in faith before you feel it, because courage and confidence comes from you doing the hard work and proving to yourself that you can do it. And after that, then I sold a few products. So that was my free product. And then I did an actual guide that like pretty much takes you A through Z of like my whole event process. And that I was able to sell a few, and I was like, yes, like, oh my God, like I wrote something, I created something, and like, that's amazing, And that's just a small example of not feeling confident, but still showing up for yourself, but still, proving to yourself, like, I can do this. Like, I'm going to figure it out along the way. And so, now I'm stepping into, now I'm stepping into, helping more, to coach people that are, community builders and that want to do that, and brands and businesses that want to host their intentional events. And it's also very scary because, again, like, even though I have, yes, proof of concept, I've done it, I'm doing it, it's still scary. And it's you reminding yourself, like, I can do this. Like, I know what I know what I'm talking about. Like, and I am still a work in progress, but I know a lot. Like, and I have this experience, and people, I can actually help people. And like, that's like my heart's desire is to really help people. So it's like stepping out in faith and doing it. That is the most important thing. Like, so it's like looking at your life and saying, like, where am I playing small? Where am I not being so scared to start because of, like deadlines, or, like you're waiting for things to be perfect or aligned, and making sure that you're honest with yourself of what do I need to do to just go for it? Because at the end of the day, the life that you want to cultivate and the life that you want to create is going to take you to show up for it, and you to show up for it daily. So that looks like daily practices, daily habits to be the person that you want to be. I've shared this before on the podcast, but a huge thing has been, because I do a lot of the social media for like my personal brand, and she cultivates, and sometimes my phone can just really take so much time. Like, my screen time is pretty high. And something that I've gotten back into is not looking at my phone and not getting on social media before like an hour, like after I actually get up. So it's like me having like my devotional time, my like just time to like just get settled into the day. And then I can get on my phone, but I feel like most of us, it's like right away, it's like, all right, like social media. And then it's like, you just don't have that break. Like, you're just flooded with so many videos and just information and content and AI now that you can't even tell like what's real and what's not. So it's just being honest with yourself of, what do I need to like stop doing? And maybe it's at night. Maybe at night you're like on TikTok doom scrolling. So it's like you have to be honest with yourself. Like, what's stopping me from being my cultivating my best version of myself, And maybe it's even doing the inner work of like, know I need to step out and like go to my first therapy appointment. I need to go and talk to someone about this, because me trying to figure it out is not working. So it's like, how can I get help on this area? Even mentorship. Like, I know in my walk, like in business, I've looked for people that are doing similar things of like, how can I learn from them? Like, even sales, like sales has been like the scariest thing for me, even though that is literally what I have to do for my business. And that's a huge part of business. But that has always been like a little scary for me. I'm not going to lie. And I've also been told before by other people, it's like, yeah, you just like are too nice to be a salesperson. And I started getting into my head about that, because I'm like, no, like as a woman, I can sell. And ultimately, like my goal is to help people. So, like, the more I can learn how to connect and like get the right message in front of the right people, I can bring those people into my event. And that's what I want. So, that has been like its own thing that I've had to get books and like mentorship about, because I realized like, okay, I don't know like how to do this right. Like, I don't know, and it's not working for me. So it's being mindful of what that looks like. And I also feel like when you look at your life and you're like, okay, what's not working? What is? It's also what aligns with your values. Like, when you're out of alignment with your values or like who you want to be, that's when you're just like moody, you snap, you're not content with your life. You're kind of down on yourself because you're upset at yourself for not living to your fullest potential or living out what you said you were going to do. A lot of the times I remember being in toxic relationships and being toxic friendships where I knew that like this wasn't it. But I would be like, yeah, like I believe that, your community matters. And like, I believe like your partner is a reflection of you. But then it's like, you're in these dynamics that don't prove that that is true for you, because you're not living out what you're saying. And so when that happens, it builds that frustration within yourself, because you're like, I know that I'm not living aligned with like the values and the things that I've set out for myself. And so being honest with yourself and stepping out and having the courage to maybe leave some things, to cut off some things, to change your environment, it is a bold move and it requires sometimes a lot of loss. But at the end, you are going to feel so much better because you're going to be proud of yourself for doing the hard work and getting to that part of your life. I was just thinking about, with this week of, just I'm in my engagement bubble and like super happy and just so excited for what the future holds. But it also is something that because I was single for a few years, I saw that, what's glorified or what's so like, oh my God, like you made it is like, marriage and babies, like that is something that like in society, like you just get praised for so much, or even like a house, right? But being single, right? Like you're like, okay, like I have wins that I'm doing and like I'm working on myself and maybe like I'm like the healthiest I've ever been, or, I'm like, I have a great community of people. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, I think still, though, like, I hope that the message that you guys take away from me is that doing the inner work is always worth it, because at the end of the day, the work that you do in private is the fruits that show up in public. And that means that as you let go of those toxic relationships, right? And you start seeing like those signs, like you start noticing like, hey, that's actually a red flag, and like this time I'm actually not going to ignore it. And you're proving to yourself like you can make good decisions and you have just a good picker right off for, and you're like cutting things off when you need to. That gives you confidence to be like, I'm cutting this off, I'm saying no to this relationship because I know that like I'm not going to settle, and like I'm not going to repeat this old pattern, or with my health, like before, maybe it's like I wouldn't take care of this area of my life, but no, like I'm going to make choices and like not eat sweets super late at night, or like cut off the time that I'm going to eat at night because it's like I don't want to have bad habits, or not starve myself, So it's like you have to make conscious decisions to cultivate the life that you love. And you have to do the inner work, right? So that you can become aware of the things that maybe before you wouldn't notice, where are red flags or toxic relationships or toxic friendships, where you're like, why do I always feel so bad about myself? Like in this friendship, like it shouldn't feel this way. And doing that work that you do is going to pay off at the end. And it's not about getting to like the relationship or the end goal, whatever the end goal is for you. It's about like the process and the journey of becoming who you want to be. And you'll be so proud of her. Like you'll be so proud that you did that work for yourself, and you set those boundaries, you healed those parts of you that were just that would repeat the same patterns, like let go of those toxic mentalities and inner thoughts that you had about yourself, and actually show up for yourself. And like people then also will see like, wow, like you look so much happier, like wow, like you have come such a long way, because they know who you were before, and like now they see you on the other side, that you're like, I feel good about myself. And when you like yourself, when you like the decisions that you're making, when you like just the life that you're creating and cultivating, that is contagious. People see it. And it's like people then will ask you, what have you done to do that? What have you, but then you'll know it was a lot of sacrifice that you had to do to create the life that you love. So it's like step out in courage, step out in the fear, step out in the unknown, but it's like it will be so worth it, because that is something that I can say that has helped me so much within my life. It's like stepping out before I felt it and having the courage to be different than most of what people are doing. Sometimes it does feel like you're a little like outlier, that you're like, hey, everyone's going this way. And you're like, well, I'm taking this route because this is the route that I need to take. And maybe people won't understand, but it's like, it's going to be worth it in the long run. So I hope this encourages you to sit with yourself this week. What is something that you are going to do to help take the courage, take the step? Maybe it's let go of something. Maybe it's being honest with yourself of like, what is not aligned here. Maybe it's doing an inner work evaluation with yourself and being like, where in my life am I stopping myself? Or like, what's stopping me from getting to that next step? And it's going to take time. Building and cultivating the life you love, it's doing the work daily. But in the long run, it's also getting to enjoy the fruit of the work that you've put in. So I hope this has been encouraging to you, and this is something that I'm personally still working through, and just thought that that was just a great topic to talk about today. And I appreciate who sent out that topic request, because it really made me even look at my life and like what are areas that are still working, not working, and how can I be honest with myself. So if this helped you, make sure to share it with a friend, share it on social media, tag us at Elizabeth Sabby and She Cultivates ORL. We also are on YouTube, so if you want to watch the YouTube episode, make sure to do that. And I'm just so excited for what this week has for you. I wish you all the best, and I will see you guys next week.